Then what? All right, pick what you should. Pause it. Welcome to the Cashflow U Cashflow Software training presentation. My name is Newsom Matamba, and today I just want to show you how to use our newest Cashflow software. Whether you're a member of Cashflow U or whether or not you purchased one of our courses, such as Back to Basics, you will have our newest Cashflow software available to you. So first of all you have to do is log into the website that you have membership with, and I'm going to enter my username, which is your email address or the email address you gave us, and your password was sent to you when you enrolled for Cashflow U or whichever membership or course you purchased. And once you enter your username and password, just click login now, and it'll take you to the welcome page. In this case, I'm in Cashflow U, and so the welcome page says how to use Cashflow U. If you scroll down, you'll see this tab for courses for churches, courses for believers, and courses for businesses. In this case, I'm going for the Cashflow software. So on the top menu, you'll see the link that says Cashflow software. Just click on that link and it'll take you to our new Cashflow software. The instructions for using the Cashflow software are at the top, but I'm going to walk you through how to use it as a first-time user. The first thing you have to do is go to the left panel under Inflows and add new type. If it's your first time and you've never used the inflow, then you have to click on Add New Type and enter the inflow you want to add. For my example, I'm going to assume that you are married. So this is a husband and a wife, and I'm going to enter the inflows accordingly. Let's start with salary. Let's start with salary husband. And I'm going to click Add to create a new inflow type. And because this is a married couple, I'm going to add another inflow type. I'll click Add New Type, and I'm going to add salary wife. And I'll click Add. And let's assume that this couple has a business, and so I'm going to add business and click Add. And let's assume they have a rental property, and so I'm going to click Add New Type, and I'm going to enter real estate. Okay, and now that we've created new inflow types, I'm going to show you how to add information. If you click Add New Inflow, it'll open up to this screen, and we're going to start with the husband. So we'll click the drop-down menu and look for salary husband. And let's assume this husband is paid on a monthly basis. And so under due date, I'll select monthly. And let's assume that he gets his salary in the last week of the month. And so I'm going to click week 4. And let's assume he makes $6,000 a month. And so I'm going to, under amount, I'm going to click or enter $6,000. And then I'm going to click submit. And as you can see on our Cashflow software, you have salary husband, $6,000 monthly. And if you look under week 4, you have $6,000. And if you look under total, it shows a total of $6,000. Let's go back to our left panel and let's click on Add New Inflow. And I'm going to go to the inflow type drop-down menu, and I'm going to click salary wife. And I'm going to assume that the wife is paid on a semi-annual basis. So under due date, I'll select semi-annual. And let's assume that she is paid in the 2nd and 4th week. And so I will choose week 2 and week 4. And under amount, I'm going to assume that she is making $4,000 monthly. And so I'll enter 4,000 and click submit. If you look at our Cashflow software, you can now see we have salary husband and salary wife. The husband is making $6,000 and the wife is making $4,000. She gets paid semi-annually, and so you can see there's 2,000 in week 2 and 2,000 in week 4 for a total of 4,000. Now let's enter their business income. I'll go back to the left panel and click Add New Inflow. On the drop-down menu for inflow types, I will choose business, and I'm going to assume that they earn their business income on a weekly basis, and so I will choose weekly under due date. And I'm going to assume that their business is making $2,000 monthly, and I'll click submit. And if you look on our cash flow software, you can see we now have business, and it says due date weekly, and it says amount 2,000. And because we said it's a weekly amount that they get for their business, you can see here there's $500 in week 1, $500 in week 2, $500 in week 3, and $500 in week 4. I'll go back to the left panel and I'll click Add New Inflow. Let's enter their rental income. Under inflow type, I will click on the drop-down menu and I will select real estate. And let's assume that they get their rental income on a monthly basis. And let's assume that they get their rental income in week 1. And so I will select under select week, I'll select week 1. And for amount, let's assume their rental income is $1,000 a month. And I'll click submit. And if you go to our cash flow software, you can now see we have salary husband, salary wife, business, and real estate. And if you look under the different weeks, you can see the week 1 totals, the week 2 totals, the week 3 totals, the week 4 totals, and the total, in this case, their total inflows are $13,000. Now let's talk about outflows. Because it's your first time, just like you did under inflows, you're going to have to add new type. When you come back to this, you won't have to keep adding a new type. This is because it's your first time using the software. So for outflows, let's start with mortgage. It could be mortgage or rent. In this case, we're going to assume they own their home, so we're going to add mortgage. And let's add another outflow type. I'm going to click Add New Type. I'm going to add some electricity. And I'll click Add. And let's add another outflow. I'm going to add water. Water is a good one. And I'll click Add. And let's add another outflow. I'm going to add groceries. I assume they have to buy groceries. And so I will add groceries. Okay. And let's add another outflow. I'm going to add internet. And what's another outflow we want to add? Let's assume they go to church. And so I'm going to add tithes. Let's assume they go to church and they pay their tithes. Okay. Okay, now let's enter the actual outflows. Now that we've created those outflows, I'm going to go ahead and enter those outflows. Let's go to the left panel again. And because we've already created the outflows, you simply have to click on Add New Outflow to enter the outflows. We'll start with mortgage. I'll go to the drop-down menu under outflow type, and I'll choose mortgage. Let's assume their mortgage is paid once a month, which is the same for most people. And let's assume it is due in week 1. And let's assume their mortgage is $1,200. Now with outflows, this is very important. When you enter your outflows, you want to enter them according to priority code. We have priority codes of 1 to 4. 1 means this is an extremely important outflow, and 4 means it's not as important. Now, why is it important to enter your outflows according to priority code? Well, let's talk about cash flow. It was Robert Kiyosaki who said, cash flow is the most powerful financial concept in the world. If you have more inflows than outflows, you have positive cash flow. If you have more outflows than inflows, you have negative cash flow. So it is important that you know what your cash flow is, number 1, and 2, that you have positive cash flow. Now, let's say for whatever reason, maybe you lost a job, maybe you had limited business income come in, and you're not able to pay all your outflows. With priority codes on your outflows, if you don't have enough money to pay all your outflows, then you would pay your priority code once first, and then your twos, threes, and fours. And so that's why it's important when you enter your outflows that you put a priority code next to the outflow so you know it's order in order of priority, which one you would pay first if you did not have money to pay all your outflows. So mortgage is going to be a priority one. Why? Because it is an extremely important outflow. I'll click one and then I'll click submit. Okay, if you look on our cash flow software, you can see mortgage under outflows. You can see due date, it says monthly, and amount was $1,200. And you can see under priority codes, there's a 1. Let's go back to our left panel and let's enter other outflows. I'll click add new outflows. And on the outflow type drop-down menu, I'm going to select electricity. And I'm going to assume the electricity is paid monthly. And I'm going to assume it's due in week 3. And let's assume that the budgeted amount for electricity on a monthly basis is $200. And let's assume electricity is a priority code 1. I'll go ahead and enter it and click submit. And let's go ahead and enter another outflow. I'll click add new outflow. Drop down menu, I'm going to select water. And water is paid on a monthly basis. And let's assume the monthly water amount is $70. And I'm going to give water a priority code 2 for example purposes. And I'll click submit. And I'm going to go back to our outflows and I'm going to add another outflow. I'll click on outflow type drop down menu and I'll select groceries. And let's assume their monthly grocery amount is $400. And let's assume they buy groceries on a weekly basis. So I'll choose weekly. And I'm going to give groceries a priority code 2 and I'll click submit. Okay, I'm going to go back to the left panel and I'll add another outflow. And under outflow type, I will click the drop down menu. I'm going to select internet. I'm going to assume they pay the internet on a semi-monthly basis for example purposes. And I'll assume it's due in week 1 and in week 3. And let's assume their monthly internet amount is $80. And I'm going to give it a priority code 4. I'll give internet a priority code 4. I'll click submit. And let's enter one last outflow, and then I'll show you the cash flow statement. Okay, click add new outflow, and on the drop-down menu, I'm going to click tithes. And let's assume they pay their tithes on a weekly basis. And let's assume their tithes is they had inflows of 13,000, so we're going to assume 10% tithe. I'm going to choose $130. And let's assume priority code is a 4. Or I'll make it a 3. Again, this is example purposes, not saying tithes are not important. I'm just giving an example. And I'll click submit. So let's look at our cash flow plan. Under inflows, you see salary husband, salary wife, business, real estate. And under due date, for husband, it's monthly. For wife, it's semi-monthly. For business, it's weekly. And for real estate, it's monthly. And here are your week 1 totals, your week 2 totals, your week 3 totals, your week 4 totals, and the totals for everything. And total inflows is 13,000. I'll scroll down to outflows, and now you can see mortgage, you can see electricity, water, groceries, internet, and tithes. And under due date, you see monthly, 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 weekly, semi-monthly, and weekly. Now, priority codes. As you can see, mortgage is a 1 priority code, as well as electricity, meaning they're the most important outflows. Then you have water and groceries with a 2. you have internet with a 4, and you have ties with a 3. If this person did not have enough money to pay their outflows, then they would start by paying their priority 1 outflows, then their priority 2s, and their priority 3s, and then their priority 4s. And if you look under totals, you see their budgeted outflow amount. In this case, the total budgeted outflows is $2,080. Now there's this actual column, and you're probably wondering why we have it. Well, let's say they budgeted $400 for groceries, but let's say they ended up spending $500. You would simply go to this actual column, and under the groceries, you would click Add Edit, and you would put, since their actual groceries came to $500, you would put $500 and click Save. And I'll scroll back down to outflows. Now, if you look here under groceries, their budgeted total was $400 monthly, but their actual amount ended up being $500. And under the variance column, it shows a negative $100. This is letting you know that you overspent by $100. The budgeted amount was $400. The actual amount turned out to be $500, and so you've gone over by $100. The next question you should be asking yourself is, why did I go over the budgeted amount, and what can I do to stop that from happening? But let me give you an example. Let's click Add Edit. Let's say their budgeted amount was $400, but the actual amount is $300, and the month is not yet over. Let's go to outflows. And so if you look under total, the total budgeted amount is $400, but the actual amount is only $300. What this tells this person is that they've only spent $300 and still have $100 left to spend. Again, this is very important. If you're still in week 3, then you know I still have $100 that I can spend for groceries. If this is at the end of the month, then you know I only spent $300, but my budgeted amount was $400. You still need to ask yourself why you spent below the budgeted amount and what you did to save money and how to replicate it. Essentially, that's how you would enter your inflows and your outflows. Now, if you scroll down here, there's a summary portion. It shows your total inflows, your total outflows, and your cash flow amount. If you look under week 1, the total inflows was $1,500, but the outflows was $1,442.50. So this person had positive cash flow of $57.50 in week 1. Again, this is important because this shows whether or not you had positive cash flow or whether or not you had negative cash flow. Now, another cool feature I want to show you is the cash flow statement. If you go to your left panel and click cash flow statement and scroll down, you'll see this download PDF tab. Click on it, and if you click on it, it'll open this PDF document, and I'll click on open. And if you look under cash flow plan, now you can see your cash flow, you can see your inflows, you can see your outflows, and you can see your summary. And in addition, you're able to get a spending by priority report. And so now for week 1, you know what your week 1 priorities are. Your week 2, your week 1 priorities, you're able to see your priority 1, your priority 2, your priority 3, and 4 outflow. So if you did not have enough money to pay all your bills, then you would start by paying your priority 1s first, then your priority 2s, your priority 3, and your priority 4 outflows. So this allows you to properly manage the paying of your expenses, especially if you don't have enough cash flow to pay your expenses. So guys, that is how our new cash flow software works. Again, you can print this document, this PDF document, and you can have it for your own private analysis. You don't have to view it from the computer. You can go ahead and print it off, and you can have it with you, and you can study your inflows, your outflows, and your cash flow. Again, cash flow is the most powerful financial concept in the world. Why is it important to have positive cash flow? Because positive cash flow allows you to pay down your debt. It allows you to buy assets on sale, such as real estate, such as stocks. Again, cash flow is the most powerful financial concept. Please use our new cash flow software. It's an added benefit to your Cash Flow U membership, or if you purchased any course from us, such as Back to Basics, this is an added benefit at no extra charge. I encourage you to use it. It will change your life. I'm using it in my personal life. I know William Thompson is using it, and I know everybody else on our team is using it. God bless you. Thank you for watching this presentation. Have a great day.